Irrigation scheduling is a technique that we use to determine how much to water, when to water, and where especially to apply that water to a specific crop.
So there are many answers to that question about why irrigation scheduling is important to a farmer. The most important reason is that irrigation scheduling allows the farmer to use his or her water more efficiently. So the water is put on at the right time in the right amount, which benefits the crop. And the beneficial part to the farmer is that it usually results in better yields and more economic efficiency.
The research shows that if we don't get the right amount of water at the right time, we can actually hurt yields. Even though we may be applying more than what the crop needs at that time, we may reduce yields because we're over applying at that time, and we're also reducing our profits because we're paying to move that water. Even if the water source is free, we're paying to pump that water. Results. I can show that in research, that by overwatering we're reducing yields, by correctly watering, hitting that timing correctly, we're actually increasing yields.
Well, irrigation scheduling can benefit growers from the simple approach to very elaborate. If he schedules irrigation using some of the technologies and tools we've talked about, he can make better use of the rainfall he receives. He can see how long it's doing that plant some good in the soil. He can determine when he has to turn his irrigation system on. And in very practical terms, is he irrigating enough? Is it reaching the zones in the soil where the crop roots are extracting that water? He may not be irrigating quite enough or often enough. So he can really learn how to fine-tune that water application, and often find that he can save an irrigation application or two over the season by using irrigation scheduling.
Well, we grow vegetables as well as row crops, and vegetable crops are much more dependent on critical timing on the water. If we did not have the right amount of water at the right time, just 2 days can make the difference between a sellable crop and a non-sellable crop. And knowing when to cut water off and on field corn is critical too, because if you cut the water off too early, you have a poor test weight. If you run it too much, you could have disease problems. Same with peanuts. Peanuts do not use much water on the front end, but water determines your yield as much as anything else, and you've got to put out the amount of water to make the crop. If anyone is asking about the possibility of using soil water monitors, I would say use it, because it will save you a tremendous amount of money and or energy and or water.
Well, irrigation scheduling or application of irrigation water is not unlike any other crop protectant that we use. And we have to know the right timing and the right amount so that we can get the most effectiveness out of it.
So irrigation scheduling cost effectiveness is a function of the technology the producer decides to use. There are some technology, for example, the smartphone apps that can cost nothing or maybe a short subscription of $10 to $12 a year. Other methods that can be used include adding sensors to the soil so that the sensors then tell you exactly how much water is in the soil profile. The investment pays off because the water savings add up and the yield benefits overcome any costs that you incur to invest in the sensors. The extension services at most university systems have developed what we call the checkbook method, which determines in a very coarse way the maximum amount of water that the plant needs every week of its growth cycle. So you can use the extension checkbook method to maximize the amount of water you put on and make sure you never have a deficit. There are techniques that are developing to measure the plant canopy, so you can measure the plant canopy to determine how much water the plant needs, and a multitude of other techniques.
Irrigator Pro is a computer program that helps schedule irrigation, both timing and amount, based on field conditions, soil type, and chance of rainfall in the future. Well, Irrigator Pro works by, at the first of the year, the producer or crop consultant will enter the field information in for each individual field on their farm. And then during the growing season, they will go out and take readings from the field, such as rainfall, irrigation, soil temperature, or soil moisture, enter it into Irrigator Pro, and then based on decades of research that's in Irrigator Pro, it will recommend an irrigation or not, and if it does recommend irrigation, it will also recommend the amount.
So irrigation scheduling conserves water because it reduces the amount that you have to put on because you're timing your applications to the crop needs. And you're also adding water to meet the deficit in the soil. So you can estimate or measure how much water you have to add, and this overall reduces how much water you use in a growing season.
Well, next to land, abundant water for irrigation is our most valuable resource in production agriculture. And Irrigator Pro is based on decades of scientific data. And when a producer uses Irrigator Pro to make a decision, they have all of that data available to them to apply at the right timing and at the right amount. I use the definition of conservation as wise and prudent use. And when we base these recommendations on the science that we've gathered over the years, I think that is the wisest and most prudent use we can have. And we've seen reductions in irrigation as well as increases in yield and grade.